85 degrees, certainly headed into the 90s here as we are at midday, 1:30 in Las Vegas. And Gil, you and I had a chance to see Luigi Minchillo in the fight we did a few weeks back from Viareggio, Italy. He won an easy 2-round knockout over Danny Myers of the U.S. We also watched him in a 12-round videotape victory, winning the European Championship. What were your impressions?
Well, after watching him fight and also watching
tonight is the couple of games tonight on the National. BC heavyweight boxing champ Larry Holmes successfully defended his title tonight in Pittsburgh, but it was certainly no cakewalk. Holmes totally dominated the first several rounds, but the lightly regarded Renaldo Snipes decked the champ in round number 7 and took the offensive in rounds number 8 and 9. But the reverse was true of rounds 10 and 11, finally ending in the second minute of the 11th round with referee Rudy Ortega stopping the bout and awarding a TKO to the champ. Tonight's loss was the first in 23 fights for the challenger, while Holmes upped his record to 38 victories against no defeats. And that's tonight's sports report.
Okay, thank you, Bob. As we said, Bob Robertson's off with it.
Heavyweight champion Larry Holmes survived a stunner tonight and registered an 11th round TKO over challenger Renaldo Snipes in their title fight in Pittsburgh. Holmes was in command early for a good part of the fight, and he seemed to have almost everything under control here in the early going. In the 5th round, Holmes hit Snipes with a series of lefts and rights and opened up a deep cut over the challenger's left eye. You can see it bleeding there. But in the 7th, Snipes startled Holmes and the crowd. He leveled him with the right hand that went right through the champion's defense. And watch when Holmes gets up. He staggers right into the support. He was able to come back, and Snipes was not able to get to him. We'll take a look again in slow motion at the punch here. Wham! And you don't think Jerry Cooney's sitting at home smiling, but then he knows Holmes has a little bit of a chink in the armor. That was the only knockdown in the fight. Holmes regained his composure, as we said. In the 11th round, he caught up with Snipes, hit him with a left and a right. The referee stopped the fight, Rudy Ortega giving Holmes a TKO with 1:54 left in the 11th round. It was unpopular with both Snipes and with the crowd. Quite a bit of an argument, and really some question over whether the fight should have been stopped, as Snipes had come back several times. Afterwards, both fighters were interviewed by ABC's Howard Cosell, and they made a mistake of putting both of them side by side. Snipes went after Holmes again. He was pulled away, escorted out of the arena, but Snipes was taken to the hospital. He was cut on the arm by a fan who had a pair of scissors. That was an inadvertent cut, and he also was able to survive it, but he is in the hospital, apparently got some stitches. NBA tonight.
Participating John Deere dealer till November 30th.
Well, George, how cold was it?
It was a little nippy out there, but
down in the middle, that could raise some humorous comments, but that was a serious...
That's the second time in a row it's happened to Holmes, and the whole thing's getting to be a real joke.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Todd. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
folks, now's the
Pittsburgh Civic Auditorium tonight. WBC heavyweight champion Larry Holmes got a little more than he bargained for, but he hung in there and banged out an 11th round TKO over 7th ranked Renaldo Snipes. It was Holmes' 11th title defense, and while he dominated most of the fight, he stayed out of range of the challenger most of the time till the 7th. Then watch for this right hand by Snipes. There it is. It's been a long time since Holmes was stung like that. But the champion, who might have looked ahead to his multi-million-dollar matchup with Jerry Cooney, took control in the 11th round, and he battered Snipes into the corner where he just measured his opponent, took aim several times. After the bout, the referee stopped that Snipes and his trainer claimed they should have minded their own business, but the referee defended his actions, so Larry Holmes keeps his WBC heavyweight crown. And one other item tonight, the Spokane Flyers hockey. Their road trip on Sunday, they'll head for Regina, and for the moment, Flyers are afloat. Now they just got to put some wins and get some fans in the Coliseum.
Boy, that's good news. We'll have to get out.
Regina, and for the moment, Flyers are afloat. Now they just got to put some wins and get some fans in the Coliseum.
Boy, that's good news. We'll have to get out there and try.
With Jerry Cooney in March was Holmes' 39th against no defeats. It was his 29th knockout. The loss was the first for Snipes. And the Washington Huskies
lost to Columbia Valley tonight in hockey. Spokane Flyers hockey team.
Earlier on, Snipes had knocked Holmes down temporarily, but in the 10th round, the referee declared a technical knockout by Holmes. We'll be back with some more final news and weather.
Taken to the hospital after the fight, but it had nothing to do with the TKO. He was accidentally pushed into his trainer, who was wielding a pair of scissors. Completely accidental. He's taken to the hospital. He's all right. There's a little bit more of the fight. Those in the Snipes camp are also disappointed that the ref called the fight in the 11th. They say their man could have won over Holmes, and there is a TKO in the 11th round. You're seeing it right there. And last and least,
Holmes retained his crown last night, but not before receiving a tremendous scare from Renaldo Snipes. Lori Singer has the story.
From the opponent as Snipes.
The question before the fight was, who is this Renaldo Snipes and why would Larry Holmes waste his time? It seemed like a fair question through the first 6 rounds. The heavyweight champ didn't have a tense moment. But take a look at round 7. Better yet, take a look at the right hand that sent Larry Holmes to the mat. It changed the entire fight. Snipes turned into the aggressor, but it was Holmes who prevailed with 1:54 to go in the 11th round. A series of punches caused referee Rudy Ortega to call the fight TKO, a decision. The crowd and Snipes protested greatly, even to the point where in a post-fight interview, Snipes tried to get one more shot at the champ. He was whisked away while Larry Holmes was left to think about that right hand. Lori Singer, CBS News, New York.
After the fight, Holmes was his usual confident self, but he did have some very respectful words for his opponent.
No, he didn't surprise me because I worked very hard, you know, for the fight. I knew Snipes was awkward, and he didn't know exactly what he was going to do. So, you know, I had to train very hard for it, and I felt that this guy was going to come at me and present a problem, but I didn't know how much of a problem. Everybody here was selling him short. I heard some people say 1 round if Holmes wanted to. Some people say 3, 5, and they didn't even have a line on the fight. And he almost pulled an upset. And lucky I trained as hard as I trained and whatnot. But, you know, you can't take it from the guy. The guy wanted to fight. He felt that the referee shouldn't have stopped the fight. But I thought the referee done a great job in stopping the fight. But this is one time that I didn't want the referee to stop the fight because I wanted to take him out and for the count. But, you know, again, you know, you cannot please everybody. Everybody wanted to see a fight. They want to see the guy go down for the count 1,000 times. And but, you know, he could have got hurt seriously. So I think the referee done a good job. Oh, no, I wasn't hurt. I was more surprised than I was hurt. He hit me in the back of the head, and I went down from it.
The strategy was to slow him down, hit him with a lot of body shots. They were taking effect right around the 11th round there. Everybody could see that. Give this kid his due. All you sports writers, give this kid his due, because he deserves it.
In other boxing news, Michael Spinks retained his WBA light heavyweight title today with a 7th round TKO over Vonzell Johnson. Both fighters were able to land some solid blows during the first 6 rounds, but in the 7th, Spinks...
7th round TKO. Last night in Pittsburgh, Larry Holmes put his WBC heavyweight title on the line against Renaldo Snipes, who nailed Holmes with a thunderous right in the 7th round, sending Holmes to the canvas. But he managed to fight off the cobwebs and pull back to punish Snipes in the 11th round, as Holmes scored a very controversial TKO victory for his 11th straight successful title defense. It was Snipes' first loss in 22 fights, and he has filed protests alleging the referee called the fight too soon. He should have waited. Snipes manager Nick Ratteni has asked the WBC to declare the title vacant until a rematch can be held. I don't think there's much chance of that. Larry Holmes the victor last night. The Canadian College women's field hockey
next year. Skipper for the Oakland A's. Well, coming up soon, too soon to suit my taste, Canadian heavyweight champ Trevor Berbick will be facing Muhammad Ali in what has to be described as an ill-advised comeback attempt by the former great one. Ali's 39 years old, overweight, and out of shape. Well, recently Berbick talked with David Hartman on Good Morning America and talked about his concerns about fighting the man.
Well, I'm thinking about me in this